What's up, Taiwan? Good morning. I'm Erika Liu with 10 minutes of news from here in Taiwan and around the world. Taiwan is considering raising the price of electricity in response to a surge in global energy markets. The prices of coal, gas, and oil have jumped in recent weeks amid uncertainty caused by the conflict in Ukraine. Taiwan gets most of its energy by importing fossil fuels from overseas. But despite that, electricity rates in the country remain relatively cheap at 9.3 US cents per kilowatt hour. That's nearly half the global average. Economics Minister Wang Meihua says the government is still considering how to respond.
也有讨论到国际的原料的这个上涨的情形，那当然也有讨论到国内的这个物价的波动的情形，那各方他们都相关的因素都会在讨论，那目前都还没有定案。
Taiwan has a plan for a net zero future. The National Development Council is set to release the roadmap by the end of March. President Tsai Ing-wen has pledged to help Taiwan reach that goal by 2050. She made the commitment last year on Earth Day. Over 120 countries have joined in that pledge in a bid to combat global warming. The authors of Taiwan's roadmap say it will also include new proposals to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, such as investing in renewable energy. Hong Kong police have warned a UK-based NGO to take down its website and disband or face prosecution under the territory's national security law. Hong Kong Watch was founded in 2017 to monitor threats to Hong Kong's basic freedoms, rule of law, and autonomy. It is the first foreign NGO to be targeted by the law. Hong Kong's Security Bureau has accused the watchdog of colluding with foreign forces to threaten China's national security. Under the Beijing-imposed law, convictions can apply worldwide and carry a potential life sentence. UK Foreign Secretary Liz Truss called the move an unjustifiable action to silence those who stand up for human rights in Hong Kong. Faced with the rise of autocrats worldwide, we take a moment to reflect on how one of the world's longest-running authoritarian regimes chose to democratize. Taiwan's Kuomintang, or KMT, oversaw the country's transition to a multi-party democracy 30 years ago. It has continued to find success despite a past that was filled with periods of brutal repression. TaiwanPlus reporter Ed Moon spoke to Joseph Wong, a professor at the University of Toronto, and asked him why the KMT chose to democratize.
The KMT chooses to democratize when it does, precisely because it knows that it will maintain its hold on power, that in the face of full elections and freer elections, it would have every confidence that it would continue to be electorally dominant.
So the KMT had a record as an authoritarian party of being incredibly brutal at times. For example, the 228 incident, the White Terror. So what was it about the party that allowed it to not only democratize, but then thrive when it did so?
The earlier part of your question, I think, is really important because there's no denying that the KMT was an especially brutal regime. But I would say by and large, the political party, the KMT, has been able to transform its image from being an authoritarian, brutal regime into a viable democratic political party for a couple of reasons. One is when you look back at the transition period beginning in the late 1980s or the mid 1980s into the late 1980s, you see the more moderate faction emerge as the dominant faction within the political party, and so this gave the party the ability to, in many ways, transform itself from being a mainlander emigre party of the 1940s and 1950s into a much more localized, Taiwanized party as well.
When you first started your research, you proposed that China was a good candidate case where the ruling Communist Party could concede democracy and thrive. Do you still think that way now after the last decade?
Theoretically, I think that the CCP in China could concede and thrive. It's inconceivable to me what opposition party could possibly topple the CCP regime if it were to hold free and fair elections. But realistically, and as we explain in the book, it seems less and less likely that that's actually going to be the case. I mean, one is obviously Xi Jinping has made it very clear that he has no desire to relinquish power, has no desire to subject the CCP to free and fair political competition. In fact, with each passing day, we see the opposite trend occurring. And so for many in China, the idea of democracy, the political chaos that might ensue, the instability that could occur, are all things that could potentially derail the current path that China is on. Again, notwithstanding its authoritarianism, this is an economy that continues to grow and is the envy of many around the world. So I think the geopolitical context is also not hospitable to a concede to thrive scenario in China.
Taiwan's purple crow butterflies are making their way north for their annual migration. The butterflies head out from Kaohsiung in southern Taiwan, and their numbers spiked on Tuesday morning. The government closed off a southern stretch of the National Freeway No. 3 in Yunlin County for several hours to help the migration. Nearly 700 purple crow butterflies were recorded passing over the highway each minute. A local butterfly preservation association says even more butterflies will fly north around the Tomb Sweeping Festival early next month. Taiwan isn't known as a coffee-producing country, but it is home to several small-scale plantations. These coffee farms were founded under Japanese colonial rule. They produce beans with a unique flavor profile. Join us for a trip to Hebaoshan in western Taiwan's Yunlin County to learn more about the local coffee industry.
我们的咖啡是独一无二，它是非常棒的。像我本身是第3代的咖啡农，对我来讲，它是非常非常重要的资产。我们古坑的荷包山是在1932年就种了那么多的咖啡。 其实这个都要追溯到日本人进来之后，他在整个全台湾都有4种咖啡豆。后来他找了3个地方比较大面积的种植，一个地方在那个花莲的瑞穗跟武鹤，那另外一个地方在南投的惠顺林场，那第3个地方就是我们云林古坑的荷包山。 它是一颗一颗的采下来，它红了才能采。像这种红色我们才能采，哦，像这2颗就比较没有。那在烘焙的过程里面，它有分 浅烘焙、中烘焙跟深烘焙。那浅烘焙它本身的咖啡比较会带酸，到了中烘焙之后，它的甜度会高一点；到了深烘焙之后，它的酸味就大概会不见。其实台湾咖啡地理环境位置上本来就非常适合种植咖啡，那这个等于是得天独厚。 又是海岛型的气候，从低海拔到高海拔，那这样的环境，我相信在全世界找不到第2个地方。荷包山出产的台湾咖啡，绝对超乎你的想象，你一定要来试试看。
Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. I'm Erika Liu. Remember to download the TaiwanPlus app for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally, we leave you with some images of trumpet trees blossoming in southern Taiwan. Take care and see you next time.